Hey everybody, BTO Pro here. Today I'm going to show you how you can install ELMS Learning Network on DigitalOcean by copying and pasting one line. So, the line in question, take from here. As you can see in the big bold text, this is for development purposes only. So, buyer beware, but this is similar to spinning up Vagrant. DigitalOcean is just something I've been playing with in my own personal time, and Collins and I had to use it the other day because of some network issues on campus. So DigitalOcean, I already have an account. I'm going to create a droplet. There's some links at the bottom of the post so you can figure out what this all means or how to do it better. But one of the cool things about DigitalOcean is you say, like, I want a really big server. The end. So I'm just going to pick the cheapest thing since I'm paying for this. The installer for this works on CentOS 6.5, and I'm going to hook it up automatically to my computer. So cool thing, DigitalOcean, it takes about 55 seconds is what they claim. I've seen it be more between like 30 seconds and 2 minutes. It kind of depends on traffic issues. So usually it's really fast, so usually it's less than 55 seconds. So really hard to do. Gotta love virtual servers in the cloud. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this IP address here and see I got a couple options where it's located. We're going to go to the command line here, and I'm going to run SSH root at and then that IP address. I'm going to say, hey, do you know about the server? Yeah, we know about it. Cool. So the next part is really hard, I know, is we just need to go copy this line and paste and hit return. And now this is just going to go off and run. And what this is doing is it makes the assumption that you're, in this case, you're running on a CentOS 6.5 box. It's going to take this box and get all the dependencies needed to run ELMS Learning Network and then automatically install ELMS Learning Network, which involves the authoring of keychain module. So it's going to write its own modules as to how to connect to itself. It's going to install several Drupal sites, all of which are networked, ahead of time to be able to talk to each other. And then at the end, you're going to get this nice big copy and paste thing that you're going to throw in your local Etsy host file. So I'm going to skip to the end, and then we're going to copy and paste that in. This usually takes about 9 minutes to run. And you can see what you get at the end. So at the bottom it says how long this took, so 530 seconds. So it took less than 10 minutes, again, as I said, around 9 is generally what we're seeing to set this all up. So the next thing we're going to do is take these lines and we're going to copy them. We're going to log out of the machine at the moment, and we're going to do modify our host file. Okay. And so you see I have some other things in here for Vagrant. This install routine will probably replace our Vagrant installer. But you see we got the IP address, and we're routing a whole bunch of these at the same IP. So quit out of that. And now we're going to actually go to that address. And so we're going to go to online.elmsln.dev, which the host file rewrite will now point this to our DigitalOcean server. We can log in with admin into CIS, and now I don't want to save passwords. And now we can go into system setup and do Sing 100. Sure, it's our fake course we have to start. We'll make a course outline. We're going to make this minimal and fall. We're going to do, sure, really far in the future. Stuff doesn't really matter for the most part. Part of the UX overhaul we're currently undergoing is going to gobble up this site as well. So that is waiting for it to get picked up. So let's see what that actually means. So we're going to log back into the server. Once this is set up, you can type D space SA. That's short for Drush site aliases. And you'll get a list of all the things that is built, because it goes and discovers them. So you can go into ELMSLN, which, see, that was a symlink off of my account here. We can go into config, and we're going to look in the jobs directory. Oh, sorry, jobs. Okay, and you see we have this sing100.courses.processing. If I look in the background, it's actually estimating how long it's going to take to build this site. And so if I look in the .processing file as to what happened when I filled out that form, we effectively template out kind of this job file. First few lines kind of say, hey, this is the distribution we're going to install and the location. And then after that is a whole bunch of drush calls. So you see we enable a bunch of modules, we set a bunch of variables. Move this over a little bit. There we go. We disable some things, delete some variables, revert some stuff, and then we actually import content. So that's what that minimal selection was. We then rebuild some UUIDs, run cron, and then we prime the caches on all the entities there. So every time you request a system, that's effectively what's happening. It writes a file onto the server, and then we can look at it, see, okay, these take about 2 minutes. So we're going to break here. Come back when that's done. Okay, so we can see now we've got mail. Hey, it didn't end up sending it. And so now this course is set to process. So now if I do a dspace.sa for site aliases, we'll see we have a courses.sing100. Now, because I don't have any of the connection modules enabled that have your account there, you'll get presented with access denied, right? So we do have some bakery plugins, we just don't have them turned on in this instance out of the box. So what I can do is d@courses.sing100. We'll do a ULI, which will generate a one-time login link. And copy this, paste it in there. And we'll look at the site that was built. So now that I'm logged in, user 1, you can see this is using the old UX. We haven't migrated to the new UX yet. We've got instructional outline. We can create one here. Okay, set this as a book outline. Right, so it's just a Drupal site that went and made a Drupal site. Basically all it was. And go into the instructional outlines and do edit order and titles. Because this is a really weak VM, I think it actually timed out when it was trying to do the full-on build. Okay, so we could build a content outline this way. We could take this and duplicate this little part of it, so we can move it over there, right? Use the outline designer, so it's refresh, see we got our content outline there. So the other thing it does during setup, you see there's this config directory, which is separate from the original Git repo that's set up. If we jump into shared and Drupal 7x, you can see we've got a modules directory, and then there's some examples in here. And most importantly, there's this, right? So it actually, during setup, it authors its own module. And so let's look at what that module looks like. And based on the initial data that's been supplied, right, of the base address being ELMSLN.dev, it authors this keychain. And so this keychain expresses how all the systems are able to talk to each other on these kind of fractally created networks, right? So we've got CIS, that's that distribution, MOOC, CLE, iCore, ELMS Media, Editorial, ELMS Compliance Distro, Discuss. We've got all these tools that are here, and this is the registry that's used. So basically, if we scroll down a little bit more, we can see that whenever a new system is created, it says, hey, you need to include this module. And so it enables the module, which then gives it the ability to talk to any of the other systems that exist in the network. So for example, we can go to media.elmsln.dev, and when we get that hooked up, right, into this single sign-on network, I would just be logged into our asset management system. I believe it's comply. Yes, comply I tried to get to, and again, I don't have access to it because we don't have the single sign-on going, but if I do a ULI against comply, you can see the state of our compliance distribution that we're working on, right? So we've got courses, we've got assets, we've got some displays that we're building out, right? So that we can then, as we build out our course portfolio in CIS, we'll be able to make a query against CIS and pull that list of courses in here so we can get a list. We can pull in the assets in real time from our Singularity 100 course, because we already grabbed from the CIS the fact that Sing 100 exists at this extremely standard naming convention. Let's say I edited this page and I threw some media in here. We could then recognize there's media on the page and ship it off to the compliance system to say, hey, you need to actually verify this as a separate process. So that's kind of the state of the one-click installer. We're currently working on the UX overhaul that will see a theme that's applied across basically everything. I've been doing some screencasts recently about that as well, and I'll include it in the notes.